Believe it or not, we're 8 days out from the midterms, and I'm happy to say a friend of the show, Jason Johnson, politics editor for The Root, is here. We have a saying in the business where we take a turn. We are turning from some of the saddest stories of the weekend, obviously, to what is now, just inside a week away, a giant midterm election. I have a lot to get to, but first, your look of the land right here. What's going to happen?
This map is getting bigger and bigger for the Democrats. I think as much as we pay a lot of attention to Florida or Georgia, where a lot of the celebrities are, I think one of the things that's overlooked a lot is Ohio. Ohio might get a Democratic governor, and Michigan might get a Democratic governor, and Wisconsin. These governor's races are going to have a huge impact on how congressional districts end up being rewritten on the 2020 election. I think the Midwest blue wave at the state house level is one of the most underlooked and underreported stories of the midterms.
Right, and that sets up who's in charge going into what is everyone expecting to be a very big 2020. Take a look here at the new Republican midterm closing message, which is missing one thing: their president.
When I look at the way things are, it reminds me how far we've come.
These numbers, they are depressing.
Because the future worth fighting for is not guaranteed.
What do you make of that closing message?
Yeah, that's great. That's like seeing a commercial that talks everything about McDonald's but doesn't mention burgers, right? Like, we know it's about the burgers. You can't advertise the Republican Party in 2018 and pretend that Donald Trump is not the party. He's the president of the United States. He's the leader of the party. I don't think those messages work. And even the sort of underlying economic message of it, Ari, doesn't really fit, because the economy has been going well for 2 or 3 years now. Like, it was good at the end of the Obama administration. It has continued under the Trump administration. So the idea of we don't want to go back to the bad old days doesn't really apply in this midterm cycle when it's been good old days for 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah, and you mentioned Obama. I'm going to put up the new Gallup on the screen. I feel like if Barack Obama or George Bush or normal presidents had this kind of approval right now, he's down to 40% in Gallup, going right into the midterms, that would itself get a lot more message. Now, a lot more messaging. I feel like people are understandably dubious about any polling, right, which I get, but 40 is not very good.
No, 40's nobody wants a 40-degree day, right? Like they said in The Wire. Like, it's not a good sign for the president to be that far underground. And again, he's basically an albatross on the shoulders of all the Republicans that are running. But here's the thing, all right, and I think this is important for people to understand. Wave elections don't necessarily mean that everybody is going to punish Trump. Wave elections means that Republican seats that shouldn't be competitive are competitive. Wave elections means that registration numbers aren't necessarily going to indicate levels of enthusiasm. And that's why we're seeing the Democratic map has started to expand. They've got more ways to win the House now than they did 2 months ago. And that's what makes everyone really nervous going into this time of year.
You brought up The Wire. It makes me think of the old line, you want it to be one way.
But it's the other way.
But it's the other way. And that's what both parties are going to be saying to each other until we see who's right. That's why we wait to see what the voters actually say. Jason Johnson, thanks for doing the politics with us.
Thanks, Ari.